ZONTA is a worldwide organization established for 101 years already. The first ZONTA club in Taiwan was formed in 1964, almost 56 years ago. Its goal is to empower women through service and advocacy to promote UN Sustainable Development Goal number 5, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls is ZONTA's commitment. ZONTA divides into 32 districts as administrative territories. Taiwan and Mongolia constitute District 31. There are 25 clubs with more than 700 members. This district head officer is governor. I am district governor 2020 to 2022. For this biennium, District 31 service project has specially focused on migrant women. In Taiwan, there are almost 600,000 immigrants, mainly from mainland China, Vietnam, Cambodia, and other Southeast Asian countries. Most of the women immigrants are locally referred to as foreign brides. Women in many of these cases experience conflicts and difficulties in adjusting to the local environment due to cultural gaps. Therefore, the District 31 board urged each club to plan its own project related to these new immigrants, those who migrated Taiwan from the late 1990s until the present, to find some ways to improve their lives, including their children's, Taiwanese sons and daughters, economically and socially. Over the past few months, District 31 clubs have organized and hosted many activities regarding new immigrants. Today, we'll share with you about what we have done and what we are going to do in order to facilitate new immigrants' inclusion in our society. There are 4 speakers today. The first speaker is Kathy Ma, District 31 Service Committee Chair. She's going to introduce the District 2020 to 2022 service project on new immigrants in Taiwan. And the second one is Huihui Shei, Vice Club President of Taipei Cosmo ZONTA. She will talk about how her club and relevant institutes to assist to solve problems of the kids born by migrant workers and left in a charity children's home. The third, Irene, studied at National Taiwan University and majoring in social work. She will present her research about the situation of female migrant workers in Taiwan. And our last speaker is Lillian Wang, District 31 UN Committee Chair. Lillian is going to talk about inclusive society regarding migrant workers and new immigrants. May I ask Kathy, our Service Committee Chair, to speak now? please introduce yourself a bit first.
Thank you, Madam Governor. Good day, everyone. My name is Kathy Ma. It is really my honor to share my presentation. First of all, I would like to give you a very short introduction of myself. I have over 40 years working experience in public affairs and the human resources department in China Steel Corporation, Taiwan. And I have 12 years membership in District 31 Zonta International. Within these 11 consecutive years, served as club president and the district webmaster and the 3 committees chair. In the year 2020 to 2022, I was appointed as the chair of Service Committee. My presentation today, the topic will be Immigrants, Economic Empowerment and the Social Inclusion Program of Zonta International District 31. The outline of my presentation, first of all, I still want to give you a very short introduction of Zonta International and the International Service Program and the new Immigrants Service Program, what we are doing here in Taiwan. And second, very important, we have the Orange the World talking about the gender equality. The third one, we will give you 2 videos. We interview 2 very outstanding new immigrants and to tell them how they are alive here. So what we call the project, Zonta Gives Love. Zonta International was established in 1990 in Buffalo, USA. So we have over 101 years history. A global organization of more than 28,000 women and men. We have more than 1,100 Zonta clubs in 32 districts within 63 countries. As an NGO, the non-governmental organization with general consultative statutes, Zonta International is invited to participate in the annual Commission on the Status of Women. Our goal and the mission, very important, the word is empowering women through service and advocacy. Zontians, we believe in gender equality, and we want all the men and all the people respect women. We have very good close relationship with United Nations, such as UN Women, United Nations Population Fund, and the UNICEF. Every 2 years, we have an international service program, and the District 31, we follow this. For the year 2020 to 2022, we have 4 main goal service programs. The first one is adolescent girl health and protection in Peru. And the second one, stressing the response to gender-based violence survivors in Papua New Guinea and the Timor-Leste. And the third one, we continue our service goal is Let Us Learn Madagascar to upgrade the education for the young girls. And the fourth one is the ending child marriage. We hope to help those girls not to marry early in the 12 countries in Africa and Asia. To support this international service, so we have to do a lot of contributions. Just last year, during the November 25 to December 10, what we call the UN system, the 60 days of activism against gender-based violence. And District 31, we donated over $118,000, and we got a top 1 contributions to the Zonta International. All this contribution will do our international service project. So every member in Zonta District 31, they make this work a difference. Zonta International District 31, we have 23 clubs in Taiwan and also 2 clubs in Mongolia, totally with 720 members. Our service mission between 2020 to 2022. First, we have to focus on Zonta's mission, benefit women or girls on the local and district level, and empower of women and girls to achieve equal rights and secure their access to legal, political, economic, educational, health, and professional resources. Prevention of violence against women and girls. That's the project where we say Zonta says no. Just as I say, contribution is very important, but we not only providing fundraising for the project, but also giving the hands-on service locally. We cooperate with another like-minded organization. And very important, we have to protect Zonta's credibility. We gathered the power of 23 clubs locally here in Taiwan. In these 2 years, we focused on 2 projects. The first one is Zonta Gives Love to Taiwan. Because all our clubs, they have their own service projects. They continue doing their service project to the different places in Taiwan. But in the district level, in these 2 years, our focus is Zonta Gives Love to new immigrants in Taiwan. This is our pilot program in these 2 years. Why for Taiwan's new immigrants? What we are calling new immigrants. The people who come to Taiwan from abroad to marry or immigrate to or settle down are called new immigrants. In the past 30 years, the largest number of new immigrants came from mainland China, followed by Vietnam, Indonesia, Hong Kong, Macau, and the Philippines. There's about 565,000 new immigrants married into Taiwan, and about 440,000 second generation. That was a huge population right now, and we think they are continue to grow. The Ministry of Interior agency, they also already got a very comprehensive new immigrant service program. Why we still want to do this project? As an NGO, Zonta International District 31, we're hoping to raise more attention from the government to the new immigrants to provide health insurance, equal pay for equal work, and social protections. Through economic empowerment and support, it is expected that the new immigrants can develop and apply their strengths, including inner strengths and cultural strengths, to adapt to the community of Taiwan. We have to cherish and care the wife and the girl from far away. So we developed the job market for the new immigrants, expand economic participation models, self-employment to improve economic capacity, improve the quality of life and education of the new immigrants. And the most important, to advocate gender-based equality for new immigrants. We promote food and cultural exchanges, respect diversity, and appreciate differences. Encourage new immigrants, maybe someday they can join in Zonta Club and go international with us. Taiwanese ethnic integration, social inclusion, and the progress. And very important, we like those new immigrants, they can live happily and to be treated fair here in Taiwan. What we are doing right now, such as we promote foreign food and cultural exchanges opportunities. We enhance women's economic autonomy. We give help to improve the education level of new immigrants' second generation, taking an empowerment approach for helping immigrants help themselves. We provide Zonta scholarships for better quality of education. Join Zonta and implement Zonta International Service projects together. Let the government give more attention to the new immigrants' rights. We want those immigrants can be safe, stay healthy, be respected, be treated fairly, and be happy. We in line with the UN system, Zonta says no to violence against women. So we're taking actions together with the new immigrants when we were building our projects in Taiwan, to increase the society's attention for gender-based equality. That's we follow the step of UN, Orange the World. From last year, from the November until this year, within this 2 or 3 months, we did a lot of activities here in Taiwan. And to show you this, I think the picture can tell you the story. I would like to show you what we are doing. Let's see the video together.
Now you can see we're doing this project. A lot of mayors coming from the different cities, they join this activities. So we just want the government to know Zhongshan as an NGO, we still want to pay our care to them. So we hope the government can do more to the new immigrants. And also, very important, we are very lucky during the COVID-19 pandemic, Taiwan have very well controlled. So we're doing all the activity very smooth. So, but we asked all those participants when they join our meetings and activities to wear a orange mask with a Zonta logo on it. That's a very good symbolic for the general equality
and for the anti-violence against women. So this is a very good propaganda. Now I would like to show you, later on, we will going to have invited 2 new immigrants from Cambodia and Vietnam to share their life experiences and the career journey in Taiwan, as well as the influence and help from Zonta International District 31. The first one is Lin Li Can. And she came from Cambodia 24 years ago, and she not only married here, but continue her study. She's going to get her doctorate degree. And she's the first one legislator in Taiwan. And the second one is Ruan Shizhen. She's a Pingtung University lecturer. She do a lot of social work, and also he do the broadcasting in Kaohsiung. In the year 2016, she got a scholarship from Zonta International Kaohsiung Yuxuan Club, and that really gave her a big help to continue his study. Later on, we will show their videos. Now I'm going to conclude my presentation. After what we are doing, Zonta, just like say, we want to empower women through service and advocacy. So we align with UN Sustainable Development Goals number 5 for gender equality. We want to end all kinds of violence against women and girls. We want to have same opportunities and equal rights for the women. And also they can have the power to participate in decision making and also to empower economically. We want to make better life for women and girls in Taiwan. We not only give love to Taiwan, but we hope to give love to all the women around the world. Together, we think we are invincible. This is what I'm presentation. Thank you for your attention. Now I would like to give my floor back to the Madam Moderator, Governor Vivian. Maybe you can do more introduction of that 2 new immigrants for the video. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kathy. So comprehensive and lively presentation. As Kathy introduced, various activities have been organized and hosted by clubs over the past months, such as volunteer clinic, cooking competition, and folk dancing performances, etc. Some cooperated with the social migration associations. The others cooperated with their local governments, all for inclusive society through cultural exchange and mutual interactions. The district itself is also trying to assist the immigrant women by raising awareness relating to the experiences of these women. A former Congresswoman, Lin Li Can, from Cambodia, who was once herself a foreign bride and went from not knowing a single word in Chinese to being elected as a lawmaker of Taiwan's Congress. We invited her to speak at a District 31 President meeting, as well as several club meetings, to share her uplifting story and help change stereotypes of new immigrants. She advised some ways of cooperating with Zonta to empower new migrant women. Now, we will show you a video recorded by herself and talk about her experience as a lawmaker and how to work with District 31, Zonta International. Video, please.
大家好，我是林丽婵，我是从24年前从柬埔寨嫁到台湾来的新住民。那我嫁到彰化花坛，我先生是从事。
Good day, everyone. I am Lin Li Chan. I came to Taiwan from Cambodia for marriage 24 years ago. I am an instructor teaching undergraduate social works in the National Jinan University. In my past work experience,
大家好，我是林丽婵，我是从24年前从柬埔寨嫁到台湾来的新住民。那我嫁到彰化花坛，我先生是从事。
Good
So we have some technical issues need to be solved.
大家好，我是林丽婵，我是从24年前从柬埔寨嫁到台湾来的新住民。那我嫁到彰化花坛，我先生是从事。
Good day, everyone. I am Lin Li Chan. I came to Taiwan from Cambodia for marriage 24 years ago. I am an instructor teaching undergraduate social works in the National Jinan University. In my past work experience as a member of the Legislative Yuan, whether we worked on community social work services or promoting new immigrant policies in the Legislative Yuan, we applied both practices and theories, as well as data collected from other countries' immigrant policies as reference, to strive the rights for the new immigrants. We focused on the issues of new immigrants' rights of employment, family reunion, education, especially the most concerned nationality law. The bill was passed in the first year of my term in the Legislative Yuan. Therefore, the new immigrants can recognize the assistance and good intention given by the government. After I finished my term in the Legislative Yuan, I actively visited related organizations and invited scholars and experts to discuss the future new immigrant policies to assist the government to set up the completeness of the immigrant policies instead of setting segmented policies. Therefore, I hope to establish an immigrant policy foundation to offer information and suggestions to the government for setting up integral immigrant policies, which will also be beneficial to the issues of population decrease and bring more talented persons into the country.
论面还有学术面，包括其他国家在移民政策相关的法律还是法规还不错的，我们可以来做参考的，都可以研拟出来。那可以提供给政府在推动完善我们整个台湾的移民政策，不管是照顾生活在台湾的移民朋友，也补充其实我们台湾的人口不足，还是我们整个大环境需要哪些的人才。其实应该完整性的去盘点。
As we know that the immigrants who are most in the need of help are those who are not noticed by the government. who are confined in their house and are lacking of contact with the society. According to my observation, those people seldom have contact with government agencies or organizations. But they keep contact with their neighbors who come from the same country, such as another woman who owns a Vietnam restaurant. They can social with each other due to speaking the same language and have the same background. They can support each other on mental needs. I also found that some of the Cambodia women seek comfort and support at a neighborhood Cambodia restaurant when they encountered difficulties or even suffered from domestic violence. They have no place but to the restaurant for support and speak out what happened to them. In the year 2020, we worked together with Zonta International District 31 to assist these restaurants to develop more business so that they have more ability to help the immigrant women seeking help in their restaurants. I started this model from the county in Taiwan, Hualien, then spread to Zhanghua and Miaoli. We will further spread to Jiayi, Kaohsiung, Pingtung, and Yilan County in Taiwan, with the goal that all immigrant women living on this land will have a happy life. Thank you so much.
让生活在这块土地的女性朋友可以幸福快乐。谢谢大家。
We thank Li Chan for sharing her thoughts and experience with our today's audience. She truly did a lot for new immigrants in Taiwan. She's still leading several new immigrants associations, working for the well-being of their members. A very respectable lady. And furthermore, another lady, Ran Shizhen, a new immigrant from Vietnam, who had once received a Zonta Club scholarship to pay her university tuition fees in her desperate need to help many years ago. And then heard about our project and would like to have learned more about it. Therefore, she invited me as district governor recently to her radio show to talk about Zonta and the project. She also made a video to introduce herself, what Taiwanese government has done to improve the lives of immigrants, and special thanks to Zonta's help. Please watch and enjoy the video.
On the new immigrant family service on the year various difficulties in their early stage of settling down due to the language barrier, culture difference. I come from Vietnam. immigrants into the 12-year compulsory education program in the year 2019. They can teach their languages and promote their culture. Free translation service to the new immigrants, such as the Ministry of the Interiors. At all levels.
也可以找到社工可以协助社工会针对新住民的困难的。
Sorry, we got some technical problem. As my understanding, 阮世珍 also has been working very hard to help her fellow countrywomen to solve the difficulties as possible. We hope we can increase these kind of interactions and create a ripple effect through the community to better relations between immigrants and locals, understanding through friendship through understanding to create an inclusive and harmonious society. It's ready now? The
大
video?
家好，我是阮世珍，我的原国籍是越南，来台湾生活今年是第19年了。我的工作是
Good day, everyone. I am Ruan Shizhen. I come from Vietnam and I have lived in Taiwan for 90 years. I'm a social worker. I started to work on the new immigrant family service on the year 2004. My work includes individual case service, special project planning, broadcasting, bilingual publication editing, language teaching, and culture promotion. While living and working in Taiwan, I've seen that many new immigrants encounter various difficulties in their early stage of settling down due to the language barrier, culture difference, Taiwan people's and families' lack of understanding on the new immigrants, especially on the female immigrants. As the result, the new immigrant women have to face much more difficulties while living in Taiwan. However, Taiwanese government and civil organizations are concerned on these issues and have provided funds to help them to adapt to the new environment. For example, the Ministry of the Interior provides the New Immigrant Development Fund. Ministry of Education also include the new immigrants into the 12-year compulsory education program in the year 2019. They can teach their languages and promote their culture in the campus. In addition, the government also provide many publications or news broadcast in their mother languages so that the immigrants can receive information related to their daily lives via the above-mentioned access. Many government agencies also recruit new immigrants to work as volunteers to help on translation. The government offers toll-free translation service to the new immigrants, such as the Ministry of the Interiors, 0 800-024111. That's the number. Service hotline for foreigners living in Taiwan. Moreover, translation and mother language consultation services are also available at the agency at all levels.
也可以找到社工可以协助社工会针对新住民的困难。
Taiwan's social workers are actively involved in the new immigrants' services. When individual immigrants or their families face problems are in need of help, they can seek assistance at the new immigrant family service centers located in many areas. Besides government agencies, there are also civil organizations in Taiwan offering their services to the new immigrants and their families. In addition, the new immigrants who have adapted themselves to the new lives in Taiwan also reach out to help them. For example, Zonta International District 31 provides young women in public affairs scholarship every year to encourage women to participate in public social affairs services. I was honored and grateful to be the scholarship winner in 2016, awarded by Zonta Club of Kaohsiung Yuxuan. Zonta clubs in Taiwan have been working on the issues of women's development, children's safety, family health, and the new immigrants' living condition in Taiwan. They help the new immigrants in many ways, such as through advocacy or drama performances. The common goal is to serve people and hope that they will stay healthy, be respected, be treated fairly, and be happy. We just ended the Chinese New Year holidays. I wish you a Happy New Year. Hope everything goes your way and may all your wishes come true. Thank you so much.
我们台湾刚过完的是农历新年，敬祝大家新年快乐，心想事成，万事如意。
Thank you, Ran Shizhen. I believe these kinds of interactions definitely will create a kind of a ripple effect through the community to better relations between immigrants and locals, especially with Zonta. You know, since she received a scholarship from a Zonta club, she got a special connection with Zonta and very enthusiastic to work with Zonta. She really wants to do something with Zonta for her country women. Even maybe she'll try to establish a special Zonta club consisted of her sister members in her association. Wonderful. So now it's turn to Hui, please.
Right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear colleagues and friends, I think in front of dear colleagues and friends in front of a screen, that it's my pleasure to join you to attend this panel. Good evening. I'm Hui Xie. Yes, okay, at last. I'm Hui Xie, Vice President of a Taipei Cosmo Club, Zonta International District 31. I serve at this position from 2020 to 2022. Yeah, what happened? Is anything right? Is anything wrong? 我没有看到简报的，没有分享。Excuse me. Seems someone have some problems. 我刚刚有啊。Excuse me. It seems that today is not a good day for technician. 我刚刚打开了说，那说没有，我就再开一次。I'm sorry for the technical error, right? 按这里吗 ？OK. 那 here share. 等一下。No, everything can happen, although we have a rehearsal. Anyway. 放了，有了吗 ？Okay. At last. Right, again. I'm Hui Xie, Vice President of Taipei Cosmo Club, Zhongtai International District 31. I served from last year to next year for 2 years. And I joined the club not very long, in 2017, and became the club secretary a year later and become the vice president since last year. And I'm working as a senior researcher in Taoyuan International Airport Company, which is the main airport for this country. I'm also a PhD student on international doctoral program on Asian Pacific Studies at National Zhengzhi University. Right. Yeah, I would like to spend some minutes to brief you a little bit about my club. This is, again, a relatively young club in this district, established in 2016. Currently, we have 18 members, and many of us are from the overseas. Therefore, that makes us I was told that we are the only one club that use English as the official language for meetings and communications. And also, as you can see, all the sisters on the right top page, photos, a lovely and lively group. And we have a special care on the children's welfare. The club has supported several projects, mostly on education and the social welfare, concentrating on children. And we also supported the Harmony Homes project with the annual donation for $40,000 NT for daily supply since 2018. And on the photo below, you can see that's a presentation to our donating a scholarship supporting a primary school at a skating team for them to attend the international competition and for training. We've been working with the Harmony Forum since 2018. It's not long and the donation is not much, but we learn greatly from this case. Also, because there's a background about this shelter home. The founder, Ms. Nicole Yang, she started the service of sheltering people living with HIV positive since 1986 in Taiwan. And the foundation was established in 2011. The service has been extended to the migrant workers with difficulties and their non-Taiwanese children from 1997. And the shelter form for the migrant workers' children registered finally last year in February. I would like to say owing to the housing difficulties, so you can see there's a gap from the start of the service to the finally registration to the government. And they finally got settled in the current venue that we fulfill the official requirement for children. And our engagement with Harmony Home is not much. As I say, I used a small stitch to describe the situation. We need a small stitch, try to enlarge or extend the social safety net. So in the 2 years, we supported in a low-key way for this kind of a donation. But after the news that we learned on the Harmony Homes registration earlier last year, the club members visited the control yuan with the Madame Wang Youling, who is a member of the control yuan. And we learned that how she and her colleagues help in the process. And in our discussion with Ms. Wang, we also realized there are future issues that we have to be aware of. And we later visited a new caring center to observe the new facilities in summer and delivered the Christmas gifts to the children in the end of last year. As you can see in the photos, on the upright, when we visited the control yuan to meet with Ms. Wang in her office, and on the bottom, the two photos are taken when we visited this shelter home. Why we concerned on this case so much? We believe that human rights are universal values, and this idea is deeply rooted when we are looking at this project. Although Taiwan is not a member of the United Nations, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child was implemented in this democratic country since 2014. And according to the Article 221 of the Convention, and we need to ensure the rights to each child, regardless of the parent's race, color, sex, language, religion, political opinion, national, ethnic, or social origin, etc. For this belief, we have to face the issue that happens in here. That is why we feel our service to Harmony Home important, though it is just a small stitch in the social safety net. And also, I think Kathy just shared with us about the SDG of the UN. And when we look at the Sustainable Development Goals for children from the UNICEF, that we can also find that in the 17 goals, there are 12 of them also connected with the children's welfare and their future. For instance, like the first one, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, etc. All those we have to take care of, and a very important task, of course. And about the issue of the registration of Harmony Home, as I have mentioned several times in my presentation, why is it so important? Well, in Taiwan, fundraising for the NGO is not so popular as it is in the US or some Western countries. And many of the NGOs, especially like the Harmony Home, which are taking care of unprivileged or even unlawful, are difficult to receive private donations. For the sheltering homes, they will receive certain amount of a public support monthly for each person they take care. But the venue and the management have to meet the official requirements to ensure the quality and safety. So in this case of Harmony Home, the original place is not permitted for caring center used in the urban plan. According to the urban plan, it is not allowed to be built as or to be used as a caring center. So moreover, it was neither welcomed in the neighborhood. The residents in that district worry that unlawful migrant workers will bring negative impact. The Taipei City Government's Social Welfare Department has been working with Harmony Home to help its transition from caring people with HIV to migrant workers and their children. It also assists to match for a suitable venue to meet the official requirements. The control yuan member, Ms. Wang Youling, and her colleague, Ms. Wang Meiyu, they team up for a task force team. I think I got it lost. Well, they team up for this for this work and to urge the executive yuan that they have to take care of this issue and to ensure the right of the children. They actually impeached the administration. So you can see this registration work is actually central and local government cooperation to ensure it can be done. So the official registration of Harmony Home, I personally think is a symbol to respond a symbolic response to the administration to recognize the right of unlawful migrant workers and their children in Taiwan. For the further thought, in this case, we observe a very good public-private partnership that together we need to extend the social safety net. As a social club supporting for charity, we are thinking if it is not enough to just stay with the basic daily supply, or are we going to do more for the next step? And when we visited the Harmony Home, we have seen many donated daily supplies coming in during our stay. And the facilities are installed with very good quality. So if Taipei Cosmo Sisters are to extend our support, training the volunteers for nursing and language assistance are the options. We will discuss with the staff for their future need. And we also realize that the issue is far complicated than when we first viewed this case 2 years ago. The children's future is unknown if their parents are not able to take them home. Then Taiwanese officials had met with the parent country officials, or in this case, mostly our Indonesian government, for the issue that how to arrange the best for the children, but there's no final solution reached yet. A social service project has opened a door for us, but further studies are required that we plan to meet the officials and the experts to learn more on the issue. So we want to get ready and we could be able to need more stitches on the social safety net. And we're looking for doing more and maybe work together with other NGOs and social clubs on cases like this. So here's what we are doing with the Harmony Home. Thank you.
Thank you, Huai Hui. Actually, Zonta Taipei Cosmo that Huai Hui belongs to is the first and only one club conducting meetings in English in Taiwan, just as Huai Hui mentioned of. The members are from different nationalities, but their caring and love to the society are just the same as the other Taiwanese notions. As governor, I appreciate very much for their consistent contributions to Harmony Home since the club was formed 4 years ago. Thank you, Huai Hui, for your very thoughtful and interesting introduction of your club's super service.
Thank you.
Now, may I invite Iren to present your research now, please?
Sure. Okay, thank you, Vivian. And I'm really honored to have this opportunity here and sharing my presentation to you. Today, I'm going to give you a topic on female migrant workers in Taiwan. And I'll go through the obstacles and policies history. So if we want to dig down into the current situations of female migrant workers in Taiwan, we must first look at the population. As of 2020, the total number of migrant workers takes up 3% of Taiwan's population. And the country's migrant worker policy has been shifted from the temporary labor supplement, nowadays become normalized introduction of international labor. So which means that during the 1980s or 1990s, the ROC government keep making the migrant workers coming to Taiwan due to the lack of the labor. However, nowadays it can become normalized. And in the industries employing migrant workers, social welfare, including caregivers and maids, has the highest percentage of females. And it is noteworthy that it accounts for 99% of female workers in this industry. So if we want to focus on the female migrant workers in Taiwan, then we must give attention into the social welfare industry. And among all of the workers, Southeast Asia has been the migrant workers, and they have faced the grueling working situations and stigmas in Taiwan. So among those migrant workers, the females are a special minority group. There has been long intersectionality between women and migrant workers, and these two has made these migrant workers double disadvantaged and burdened with multiple oppressions. And here, the graph in my PPT, you could see that in caregiving industry shows a high proportion of females. And if we look into the countries that provide migrant workers to Taiwan, Indonesia may be the biggest one. And now, what causes transnational migration? If we refer to the theories, we could find that, first of all, the push-pull theory could explain the push from the power of the immigrant exporting countries, such as a poor economy resulting in a labor surplus. Here, in 1979, he pointed out that the population migration mainly comes from the poor force of the receiving country. So, which means that those migrant workers are being poured into the countries with higher salaries. And if we refer to the neoclassical economic theory, we could find that the countries exporting the migrant workers and importing the migrant workers, they have been sharing a percentage of being eventually the same, of reaching a balance of the salaries, and the wage levels will become in the same ultimately. And now if we look into the transnational migration in the sociological perspective, we could refer to the concept of reproductive laboring. Chin in 1998 refers to it as a symbolic conception of the newly reached middle class, which means that during 1990s, it was the era of the globalization. And during that time, few rich middle class have appeared. And those rich middle class have been employing the migrant workers as a way of giving away their family care burden. And Perinas in 2001 stated that the International Division of Reproductive Labor has now been established, which means that cross-national and transnational migration have been a network that keep providing reproductive labors. Now, here's a theoretical ideologies that I think that could provide us insights into the transnational migration. So, since Taiwan's female migrant workers have been mainly devoting in the social welfare industry, then we could refer to this ideology, which calls global care chain. So global care chain was proposed by Early, and it means that a series of personal links between people across the globe based on the paid or unpaid work of caring has been thus established. So women in rich countries, as you can see on the left side of this PowerPoint, the rich countries keep outsourcing their housework to the poor countries, and the salaries keep going lower and lower, and in the end it may become zero. So the women need to draw from a poor household or abroad. As we go down the chain, the value keep decreasing. And now we could look into the SDGs development goals, which was proposed by the UN. As I mentioned above, the global care chain keep mentioning the outsourcing housework, and the values keep decreasing. So now we can refer to the SDGs goals of 1 and 10. So the SDGs once mentioned that the proportion of the population living below the international poverty line should be in a low percentage, which means that we should conquer the poverty together, and we should make all the global care chain being valued, and at the end, it won't become zero. And if we refer to the 10 of the SDGs goals, we could find that number of countries with migration policies that facilitate orderly, safe, regular, and responsible migration and mobility of people is really important. And for the development goals of 5, the gender equality, we could find that it highly recognize the value of the unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services, infrastructure, and social protection policies, which means that we need to work on this through the public and the private sectors together. Now, here's the international network of families being built since the migrant workers have been moving abroad. As you can see in this PowerPoint, the adult children of spiders and those of the receive network of the international families. And it could be divided into the intra-country migration as well as the international migration. So now the global care chain gives us some takeaways. First of all, it mentions the social division of the gender and race and income. And second, it symbolizes a household survival strategy, which means that during the globalization eras, those new middle class tend to pay for the migrant workers as a survival strategy for their household. And it also demonstrates the class, gender, country, and ethnic caused by the macroeconomic inequality. And it could be also a response strategy of the lack in labor reforce, as we have mentioned in the previous theory. Now, if we look into the gender perspective, we could find that since the female migrant workers have been working in the social welfare industry, this industry has been viewed as feminine and overviewed in both the social and economy status. So some stigmas such as the women's work on intellectual, unskilled, and emotional keep being stigmatized in our society. Now, if we need to propose a framework to review the situations of the female migrant workers in Taiwan, I think that the 5 phases of oppression, which was proposed by Iris Young, is a great feat. This is because that Iris Young proposed this 5 phases of oppression to explain the underprivileged group situations. So we could look into the first part, which is called exploitation. In Taiwan, the female migrant workers mainly face the economic exploitation, and it is actually their crucial factor. Since Taiwanese government has been adopting the quota system, giving certain numbers of migrant workers to private agencies. The private agencies need to maximize their profit margins. So they usually give commissions to the employers and other stakeholders, which making those migrant workers need to pay back to their agencies. And these have caused a huge debt to them. And second, we could look into the marginalization. So the discrimination is an existing and disappointing and should lead into marginalization. Migrant workers in Taiwan nowadays, which are being banned for the citizenship, they could only stay for 14 years for the longest period, which means that they could not get the citizenship nowadays. So this type of system has made marginalization being emerged. And now if we look into powerlessness, we could find that because since that female migrant workers have been working in domestic areas such as families, they are keep providing their house and their caregivings. So in this type of area, we could see the general lack of power in the workplace, because these workplaces are usually dominated by employers such as the mothers and the owners of the family. So the female migrant workers have been facing some powerlessness factors in this kind of working place. Next, we could see the violence perspective that Taiwan's region labor law forbids migrant workers to change employers at will, which makes that having huge obstacles for reaching out for help, especially when they have the high debt to pay. They find difficulties in reaching out as they face the sexual harassment, mental pressure, and sexual violence from their employers. So what is worse is that the fear of losing sources of income makes migrant workers reluctant to report their employers' inappropriate behavior. And next, if we look into the cultural imperialism, we could find that migrant workers find it hard to gain citizenship, and it is also another example of disparity lies in the laws created for different nationalities and industries, turning migrant workers and social service into an underprivileged population. So now I'm now going to close my presentation, and I would like to come up with some viable mitigation for the current issues. First of all, I think that promoting the country-to-country direct employment system would be crucial, since that in Taiwan, most of all, as I mentioned above, we've been hiring the female migrant workers through private agencies, and the private agencies have been making those female migrant workers with huge debt. And nowadays, it only accounts for 1% of the system. So the country-to-country direct employment system should be enhanced. And second, the limitation of the conversion of employers should be abolished. As I mentioned above, that some female migrant workers have faced difficulties of reaching out for the help, since they could not convert their employers at will. And last but not the least, to improve the civil participation of migrant workers has been important, since they could not gain the citizenship in Taiwan. We must provide some spaces or maybe some private relationships for them to improve their civil participation. And that is all for my presentation. And thank you all.
Wonderful. Irene, you really did a wonderful job. Your report allowed us to realize what the problems and difficulties of female migrant workers and facing or might facing in Taiwan. Some further questions I really would like to ask later on. And now, may I invite Professor Lilian Wang to talk?
Hello, everybody. In Taiwan now it's evening time. And thank you, our Governor Vivian, give me a chance to talk about migrant workers' well-being from economic empowerment to social inclusion. And as you have heard from Irene, she was my student. Now it's student until now. And talking about how is the situation of migrant workers in Taiwan, which highly emphasizes some theory and kind of human rights perspective. And my presentation also raised some relevant issues like this. So before I talk my topic, I just give you a little bit about myself. First, I'm a Longta family, so I belong to the District 31, particular fixed in my membership at Longtai International Taipei Cosmo. I'm acting as District 31's chair of UN committee, and which is assigned my governor, Vivian. And Vivian expect me to do something more in the UN committee job. So I'm honored to have this opportunity to serve our District 31. And actually my full job is in Department of Social Work, where I have been working more than 25 years, and it's like very important the training and training department for the social workers in our society. And actually I had done a lot of research regarding social work and social welfare, and even like gender issues. So my major research area related to gender care, violence against women, and something else like gender and work. And actually I have been many countries for my sabbatical. First one, Oxford University. Second one, UCLA, where I got my PhD. And then Kyoto University and Chiba University, because I have a privilege and honor to get support from the government and from my university. And since this is called the social inclusion discussion, and Taiwan, including Longtai International, working very hard for include or to show our social inclusion project, including government and NGOs. That means we expect people who come to our country or our society, we need to pay more attention to their need, and we expect that all the program can be provide socially inclusive program for them. However, I just want to show my deep concern about Asia hate, which has happened to in United States recently. So, if I were to say some words, that means how can we care the Asian people in America? I would like to say, just like Taiwan, we are eager to provide programs which can be include people who can be a part of the society and give them socially inclusive feeling in our society. So hopefully American government and the NGOs can help Asian Americans who can be safe in United States. For my presentation, I want to focus on two parts. First one, I will elaborate in new immigrants program in our District 31. I think you have heard a lot. I just want to address what is values, what is the theory, what is the framework of service behind. I know you might learn a lot from our program, but we also need to know how to get it further based on some deep analysis. In Taiwan, as people know, mention about, just like our colleague mentioned about, we have new immigrants, but many of them are from mainland China, and very few, until 35%, are from foreign countries. So from this part of a migrant, you don't fear much about adaptation problem because most of their language will be fine. But for this part of the migrants or immigrants, they need a lot of help because their language, their cultural adaptation, their right in our society. So you can see, Vivian said before, female migrants or female immigrants should be cared in our society because they lack of a lot of resources, a lack of knowledge of this society in terms of what is their right. So think about this part of new immigrant. So that's why we need to expect or initiate some program from Longtai International. And in terms of migrant worker, as you have heard from Cai Yun. And Iran also mentioned about migrant worker can be separate two parts. And one is working for social welfare. And those of the other part will be like person working in the industry and construction, migrant foreign workers. So while we work very hard for our society, we need to address their right in our society as well. But mostly we working very hard to think about how is the social welfare agency will hire many social welfare workers from other countries. And as Aaron just mentioned, in fact, home-based services of migrant workers might suffer a lot of private concern, such as sexual assault, sexual harassment, even economic exclusion or economic exploitation. So we call the migrant workers should be highly attended, because we need to, their right and their adaptation to our society can be visible. And this is the data and some figure. I think some people might be interested, but just let you know, in Taiwan, we are full of migrant workers. The number has been more than 70 or 700,000. So this is a big amount. As Iran just mentioned, in the beginning, it's about 30 years ago, we expect migrant worker can be just a supplemental labor force. But now, because of aging society in Taiwan, we are lacking of a lot of migrant workers to help our caring of the elderly. And even the disabled people need a migrant worker, and child care needs also expect migrant worker can provide service for this country. But not every migrant worker are working in the care, but we have to think about it, something else. It's about migrant domestic workers. So I'm focused on migrant domestic workers as mostly. And this is the data showing family domestic care worker, where they come from. Most of them from Indonesia, and then most of them working in home-based care or home-based area. But we still have a lot of migrant workers from Philippines and Vietnam. So this is something you can see the distribution of population of migrant workers. And how NGOs can make difference, as Zhongtai International has done for our society. You have seen there are so many people working very hard from NGO side. Iran just mentioned that new immigrant can be economic driven through the marriage, and a migrant worker can be economic driven through the labor. But what they need, you can see they need marriage right and well-being in the family and a country. But for migrant workers, they might need labor right and well-being in a home-based working environment. So this is something we had to think about, how society like NGO can do best for those parts. Migrant workers based on the home services, and the new immigrant based on the marriage right. So this is something we had to. But for the problem and the needs, there are similarity between migrant workers and the new immigrant. They all need to adapt to our private spheres because they're living at home. And they also need to be socially inclusive to their family and to our society. However, two populations different. For the migrant worker, relationship environment might be different from the relational environment faced by the new immigrant. So, and in terms of role in the family, yes, they are so instrumental. Like migrant worker in the home might need to provide a lot of working, child care, elderly care, and a lot of housework. So their role is quite instrumental. I think about the new immigrant, you might know their role might be much more complicated. They might need to be expected to have a newborn baby, something like this. So this is different role, respect from the family. So if you think about the Zongtao International, their task through the advocacy and service for the society, you can see most of them start with thinking about the problem. Just like Vivian Governor said, because our society need to pay attention to new immigrants who are disadvantaged economically. So beginning from the sensitivity to the needs of new immigrants, Zongtao International has been working hard. What is the best way to help them? And economic empowerment may be the way they are choosing right now. And then what is AWRSD group can do? Yes, based on the data, based on the observation from the Zongtao International locally and internationally, we can see this group, Zongtao International, working very hard for advocating the new immigrant needs. However, what's the program we have to choose? It seems to me that, yes, the program can be very comprehensive, but Zongtao International, District 31 as an NGO, we think about what is a high priority to help them. Economic support might be the important one, but we also expect in the future to help them with other needs, like legally and health problems, something like that. And in terms of service delivery, NGO can be the service delivery system, part of service delivery system, but as a Zongtao International, we haven't had direct services yet. We also, usually we do the indirect services for the client or for the new immigrant through a resource and referral program or a local family service center. So this is something just to let you know how the Zongtao International as the NGO do the program from the beginning of problem define to the policy making, then program design and service delivery. We can see this is called, can be called PPPS model as we have working on. So although the people just worked hard, but we can translate or we can use this framework to see how Zongtao International make difference through the advocacy and service under this framework called PPP's model. And Zongtao International also do a lot of different through their programs, but now we can see most of their work for the working skill and help the community to be aware the need of and respect the need of new immigrants or new migrant worker. So we can see how human capital is so important through the Zongtao International advocate and the service program. As based on our understanding and our observation, we find out if we can provide better programs, it's good for them to build up their identity in our society. But I don't mean they just give up their culture. They don't mean they give up themselves. They need to be, I call the ABC. The first one, help them to be autonomous to choose their life and then just be themselves. Because everyone is asset from original countries. And then we expect through our program, we can help them to build up their commitment to their life or their family or even their future. And secondly, what we are doing now in our program, we also expect how they can adapt to our society through cultural therapy program, social accommodation, and social inclusion program. And now, Zongtao International working very hard for the economic empowerment program to help them to be developed through economic support. And in the near future, just Vivian's governor said, here might be possible for the new immigrant to have a Zongtao club this kind of decision or this kind of idea is help new immigrants to know what is the social empowerment, how to build up their social connection in our society. So social network is so crucial for their surviving in our society, I think. And finally, yes, we expect there can be a social economic skill in their future. If I would like to conclude the NGO and the GO program, in fact, in our government, there are called integrated model to help women, new immigrants in our society very carefully. I try to figure out how they help the individuals in terms of migrant worker or new immigrant. There are several parts of the program which has been done and implemented locally or international, locally or centrally. First one, the living adaptation program, like a language or something in transportation skill, motorcycle, something like this. And then there's a medical and birth health. As you might know, they get a kind of insurance, national insurance, just the people in Taiwan. And they also got employment and career development program through the 劳动部and the Labor First Ministry. So what else they need is educational program and cultural development program. And particularly, Taiwan is a society highly focusing on children education. So in the new immigrant policy and program, yes, our kids cannot exclude it out from our policies. So children education is the goal number one. Okay, can I continue?
Okay, no, it's okay. Yes,
It's okay now? Okay. And in fact, Taiwan working very hard to help our new immigrant and migrant worker, although it's not satisfied enough yet. There are two kind of program has been done. One is universal program called the non-means test program. So if you ask people in Taiwan who are new immigrants, usually they got such kind of support, health insurance, educational, cultural participation, and some economics program, and language learning program, and cultural learning programs. Those are called universal program. And even you are poor, you are rich, you just don't need to pay anything, you can participate. But some of them are really poor, so they need a mean test program for them. First one, the living allowance, and second one with single mother assistance program, and some program will relate to economic support called the long assistance program, something like this. So if you look at the whether the program is universal or selective, you can see, yes, there are many kinds of policy and programs provided for the new immigrant. And if you think about the program done by government, but NGO can do different. Like we have heard, Zongta International District 31 working very hard for economic support. So we call economic and career program. And Taipei Cosmo work very hard for the migrant workers, kids who might be illegal born in our society, but still we need to think about their human rights. They are kids, they are ignorant to the what the life happened to them. So child education and child development and child care is the number one to help them grow. So Taipei Cosmo has been alert to this kind of situation through the Harmony Home support. So we can see how NGO can go hand in hand with the government in terms of helping in this kind of needs of integrated program. And before we get more illustration on the economic empowerment program as Longtime International now is working, I just wanted to know economic empowerment program for new immigrants is so crucial. If we think about the result of economic empowerment program, you can see it not only benefit the new immigrant, it will benefit to their family. It also benefit to our society. The issue is that if you can help them become economically independent, then society can see they are just the asset of the society. They are not a burden of the society. So we had to help them to be economically independent. But people usually don't think about this is our society responsibility to help them to be economically independent. In fact, this is our society need, the responsibility to help them when they come to our society. And as we have talked about why we need help them to be economic independently, because this is the right approach thinking. And it also has to say economic-based approach thinking. And based on the research, what is economic empowerment? It's really difficult to say in several words, but eventually there are two elements we have to think about. First one, to succeed and advance economically, women need skills. So this is so important to think about what is economic empowerment. Just give them and improve their skill and resources to compete in the market, as well as the fair and equal access to economic institutions. But in addition to this part, just like Longtime International, working very hard how to empower and give them the agency and give them the ability to survive or to control their resources in their life. And this is a framework to measure women's economic empowerment. I think I don't want to go through all of this. And in conclusion, our community capital, as I mentioned before, human capital is one thing, but community capital is a responsibility from our society. Human capital is our responsibility for individuals. In my observation of the research, we find out if we want to have a better service delivery system for the community needs of the new immigrant, we need to think about how to help them through the government, through the NGOs, through the family, and through the whole community. And we find out, starting with the NGO to say how important we should work together to deliver all the systems, in terms of system of helping the need of new immigrants. Your NGO usually can do something very special, just we have done right now. First, NGO can be the initiative or do the experimental program for the clients or for the new immigrants, just Longtime District 31 has done now. And also, NGO can be the protector for the justice. So justice is the society basic value. So if we can work for the new immigrant through a justice concern, I think the society can be better and build up social solidarity. And in the near future, if we can, Longtime International can do more, just like monitoring the program done by government. And finally, we know as an NGO, we can be a welfare gap feeder. That means if the government cannot finish this part, and we can do some part to help the people to get their needs. So this is the role Longtime International is working very hard right now. But for family building, yes, in Taiwan, there are so many family service centers in our whole island, which support the new immigrant. Basically, as I understand, the family building program expect to achieve 3 parts. First one, how to find out their strengths from the family, because usually new immigrants can have their strengths because they the person from other country and they have unique strengths from their culture. And secondly, we expect through a family building program that they can be smarter in our society in terms of adaptation. And yes, they are unique in their personal or cultural strengths. They can be special. So we can see a special program provided for the family. But how about a community? As I mentioned in the beginning, we don't want our community to discriminate our new immigrant. We don't want our society who don't care about the new immigrant. We don't want a society who discriminate migrant workers. So we also need to have a community program to build up a society which can be acceptance of the new immigrant. They can appreciate the new immigrant, and they can provide more acknowledgement about a new immigrant. So this is something I call the 3 A's, and this is something I call 3 A's. So we can do a lot from a community capital program. But now, Longta International, yes, is working on this part, maybe with partnership with the government. But still, we can do for the community, or we can do something for their family. So this is the structure that I have.
Thank you, Lilian. Professor Wang is an expert on women's issues and has been putting tremendous efforts to advance status of women. Her report is truly valuable and a wonderful reference on migration, including migrant workers and new immigrants. We learned a lot from her professional and academic analysis. Social inclusion needs to be concerned in our society. Thank you very much, Professor Wang. Following 4 speakers' informative and thoughtful presentations, we will proceed to Q&A session. Hui, what is the future plan of Taipei Cosmo Zonta for the Harmony Home? I'm quite curious.
Right. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the question. It is, as I mentioned in my presentation, yes, so we've done a little bit first, and we would like to do more. But we also realize there are issues and the situation is rather complicated than we expected when we first saw the case. Therefore, I would suggest to the club first that we may do some study by visiting like local officials. We were being to the control yuan with the members who are now also the National Human Rights Committee members in control yuan, talking about this. And what we learned about this case, it is not just local, it is actually very international in many issues in this case. Therefore, study first, I would say. So we are not just grant an amount and that's all. We would like to do more. Yeah.
Wonderful. Hui, your class kindness and generosity to the underprivileged children are very impressive and grateful.
All those are the efforts that we together with my sisters in the club.
Thank you. So Kathy, how can Zonta give help to the new immigrant second generation?
You know, we have a lot of
scholars set up from Zonta International, such as the Young Women in Public Affairs and the James Klossman Women in Business, and also the Women in Technology. Besides the international scholarship, we also have a local club scholarship, just like Wan Sizhen, she gets a scholarship from Kaohsiung Yuxuan Club. So we do encourage those young generation, they can apply for this scholarship and they know Zonta more, and this is better for their education. And secondly, I would like to mention Zonta has a very good system. We have a Z Club and a Golden Z Club. The Z Club means the students in the senior high school. The Golden in the university school. They can set up this kind of group in their school and to do the volunteers and the care for those society. I think the young generation, not only they get what they want, but they have to give. Just like the Chinese saying that more blessed to give than to receive. So we hope that this young generation can know Zonta more, can do the social service with us. I think this can empower them and reach their life. Thank you.
Indeed, not only Zonta International provides various scholarship awards, our local Zonta club also provides scholarship to the students from high school to graduate school. Many students' clubs called Z Club or Golden Z Club, organized and sponsored by Zonta clubs, meet regularly to learn how to do service and how to be leader under the guidance of their sponsoring clubs. And another question I would like to ask Kathy. Within this biennium, 2020 to 2022, what do you expect to achieve to help new immigrant women and their children?
Just like I mentioned, and just like Professor Wang also mentioned, Zonta is an NGO. We don't have a lot of power to support and give everything to the new immigrants, but we do want to give. Just like the project means Zonta gives love. We want to share our effort to them. The one thing is maybe they know they can help each other. And also, maybe we can cooperate with the government, just like Professor Wang said. Well, maybe Zonta can be the gap filler. It's something that the government cannot do. But through this pilot project, we still want to arouse some attention from the government to, just like our government legislative Lin Lichan said, to set up more suitable policy for them. And also the better health care and the education for them. I think this is what we want to do, just like our main topic is to social inclusion and to economic empowerment. And secondly, we do hope these new immigrants from this project, they can know Zonta, what we are doing and what we are sharing. Maybe they can join our Zonta club to know Zonta more, because we are empowering women. Maybe we can extend those women and girls and the new immigrants. When we together, we are invincible. So we hope that someday they can join Zonta club. And also maybe we can form a new immigrant Zonta club. Let's do the international service and the local service together to empower women and girls. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Hopefully all expectations will be achieved, and new immigrants may have happy lives in Taiwan. As District Governor, I thank Kathy, club presidents, and members for their enthusiasm and patience to facilitate social inclusion as possible. I'm expecting as well to work on forming a new multicultural Zonta club composed of new immigrants in the near future to create a more inclusive Zonta world. It will be a wonderful result of this initiative this biennium. And Irene, you have mentioned of the historical background and the current situation of female migrant workers in Taiwan. May you talk more about supporting mechanism from community or government to assist those workers, especially domestic workers, when they need help?
Sure. Okay. So currently, the ROC government has provided some services for the female migrant workers, and they have making some partnerships with the private agencies as well as the NGOs, the third sectors, to provide some such as social casework, social group work, and consulting service. So especially the female migrant workers in Taiwan, when they face some difficulties or maybe harassment, they might need some place such as shelter. So nowadays, government have been providing shelters by keeping the partnership with the NGOs, and the NGOs all around Taiwan will provide shelters for those who are needed. And that's the way that the government provides services nowadays mainly.
Okay, thank you, Irene.
Lillian?
Yes.
How the government policy and programs can be expected to help migrant workers and new immigrants?
Yes, that's big question. As I mentioned in the PPT a few minutes ago, yes, government try very hard through helping the migrant workers or new immigrants to be included in our society. However, it never enough, never satisfied yet. So for the future, based on our research or based on our experience in other countries, I would have several suggestions for our government if we can. First one, we have to build up the country-to-country kind of import and export human resource policy. The reason is that whenever there's a possible human being is not be traded through the marketing. So if possible, government can do country-to-country labor force or country-to-country human resource program. I think that would be more humanitarian approach for the society. And secondly, that I would have mentioned, as I mentioned before, our society need to be inclusive, diversity and inclusive society. We need to respect diversity. We also need to build our society which we can accept and include new immigrant or migrant worker. This is not only value, but it is a justice. This is not only for individual, but for the whole society. We don't want people who got discrimination, or we don't want to have people who lose their justice in a working place or in the family. Just like Irene said, some new immigrant or some migrant worker got a lot of trouble in the home-based area. So if we can do, we would like to say the society need to be aware of what is your attitude, what is your values toward new immigrant to migrant workers. And thirdly, I would suggest to our government, not only because the government need to deal about the community awareness program, but the government also need to working very hard for the education from the elementary school to the kind of college, to see how is the diversified society we expect, including no discrimination to gender, no discrimination to race, no discrimination to disabled, no discrimination to elderly. So this is something we have to work up pretty soon. We cannot be late because our society has a lot of kind of new immigrant and migrant worker where we need them to help our society to be healthy in terms of labor force, to be capable building the family. So that's something we have to work hard. Just let you know my expectation. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilian. Actually, I just read from the audience the message they left. They all congratulations to our today's speakers. I also would like to congratulate our today's speakers for their wonderful job. One of our audience actually is our liaison, Zonta International Board Liaison from Milan, Italy, Fernanda. Fernanda, thank you for your compliments. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Hamburg, Germany, next year, 2022, in person. Okay, and in conclusion, I would like to say, as Zonta members, we believe in making the world a better place by empowering women, including migrant female workers and new immigrant women. We found joy in achieving gender equality in supportive community of like-minded professionals from diverse countries and cultures. And hopefully, together, we are able to build up an inclusive and harmonious society. Thank you for your participation. The forum is closed. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.